What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of High Mythology, the show where I get more stoned than a Babylonian harlot, and we talk about silly stories from mythology and folklore. Oh, yeah, that was a bit of a
It's
weird
literal.
one. Yeah.
It's a literal story.
Ooh. Yeah, today we will be bringing you guys a whole fleet of stories. How many stories, Kim?
We got 4.
We got 4 stories from the Hopi tribe, uh, located in the Arizona area, I believe. Yeah,
Northeast.
Northeast Arizona.
Yeah, Northeast
Yeah,
Arizona.
yeah. So some good, interesting Native American
As of
stories
the
here.
2020 census, it says that there's about 19,338 in that tribe right now.
Oh, nice, awesome. Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty exciting. I think it's gonna be a pretty fun one, guys. Interesting culture. Yeah. I'm really excited. I'm a story virgin on this one.
All of them.
All of them. Yep. I had Kim
Should
keep
be
them
fun.
from me. We decided to keep them from me just to make it a little extra fun. I'm hearing about it for the first time too.
I am going to make you give the little description of it before I take everything from you.
Oh, do I have lines?
Oh, you do, yeah. Oh my God, I forgot to get them for
you.
you.
I was just realizing, I'm like, I thought you said I had a bunch of stuff
You
to
have
say.
so many lines.
I have so many lines. So I hope you guys enjoy all the silly voices that I do sometimes. Because
it's going to be fun.
it's going to be fun. Yeah.
There you go. Good lines.
Yeah. All right. So I'll start with a little introduction.
First, we should mention that this is the Hopi Boy and the Sun.
The Hopi Boy and the Sun.
But this is irrelevant to just this story.
Yeah.
So you go ahead and take it away this time.
Okay. Where cultures overlap. As in areas of the Southwest, with its mixture of Hispanic, Pueblo, and nomadic traditions, legends are also often modified and reshaped in the retelling. This story, related in 1920 by a Zuni elder who may have been part Hispanic, gives us a curious twist to Hopi tales of the sun. Besides the traditional Hopi elements, such as the trail of sacred cornmeal and the sun's fox skin, it embodies the fear and antagonism felt by the Pueblo farmers toward the marauding nomadic tribes. At the same time, it is full of things unknown to the Pueblos before the coming of the Spaniards, such as peaches, silver bracelets, and the ocean itself. Boom, boom, boom. All righty, go ahead and take her away, Kimbo.
All right, so it starts out. A poor Hopi boy lived with his mother's mother. The people treated him with contempt and threw ashes and sweeping into his grandmother's house.
Oh, that's such a sick move.
And the two were very unhappy.
Yeah, I would be too if people were sweeping shit into my house.
One day he asked his grandmother who his father was. She said, "My poor boy, I don't fucking know." To this the boy says,
"I must find him. We can't stay in this place. The people treat us like shit."
"Grandchild, you must go and see the sun. He knows who your father is." On the on the following morning, the boy made a prayer stick and went out. Many young men were sitting on the roof of the kiva, the underground ceremonial chamber.
Yeah.
They sneered when they saw him going by, though one of them remarked,
"We better not make fun of him. I believe the young boy has supernatural powers." That's my going through puberty voice.
I'm
not a boy.
So the boy took some sacred meal made from pounded turquoise, coral, shell, and cornmeal and threw it upwards.
Ciao.
It formed a trail leading into the sky, and so he climbed it until the trail gave out. Then he threw some more sacred meal upward, and a new trail formed. After he had done this about 12 times, he came to the sun.
Could you imagine if you'd wasted that cornmeal on some fucking cornbread? Like, you could have used a bridge to the sky.
I don't know if you could.
I guess it was turquoise in there.
Yeah,
so that probably would have tore up your insides.
Shells.
Mm.
It would have been crunchy. Like you're eating a really bad
It's a really coarse
chowder.
cornbread. Is that sand?
So, fuck, where am I? After he had done this 12 times, he came to the sun, but the sun was too hot to approach. So the boy put his new prayer stick into his hair on the back of his head, and the shadow that plumes protected him from the heat. He asked the sun,
"Who is my father?"
To which the sun replied,
"All children conceived in the daytime belong to me. This sun fucks. As for you, who knows? You are young and have much to learn."
So the boy gave the sun the prayer stick, and he fell from the sky and landed back in his village.
Poof.
Boom. Actually, I'm sure it was more like,
Poof.
You can imagine he would actually be slaughtered on the floor.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of the story, folks.
That's it. Sorry.
That's it. Give it a little. Someone grab the pancake flipper.
Spatula just sticking
Yeah.
On the following day, he left home and went westward, hoping to begin learning. When he came to a place now known as Holbrook, Arizona.
Oh.
Yeah. Now known as that.
I feel like the old name would have fit the story way more. That's one of those like breaks you write out of the story. And he came to a place called Holbrook, Arizona. Nice gated community.
He saw a cottonwood tree and chopped it down. He cut the length of the tree to his own height, hollowed it out, and then made a cover for each end. Then he put some sweet cornmeal and some prayer sticks and decided that it was ready to get going on traveling. Climbed into the box, and he closed the door and rolled himself into the river. I'm sorry. The box drifted for 4 days and 4 nights until he finally felt it strike the shore at a place where 2 rivers join. He took the plug out of the peephole that he had made and saw morning light. But when he tried to get out, he couldn't open the door, no matter how hard he pushed, and he thought that he would die inside for sure. In the middle of the afternoon, a rattlesnake girl came down to the river, and she discovered the box. She took off her mask and looked into the peephole. "What are you doing here?" she asked the boy. He said,
"Open the door. I can't get out."
"How can I open it?"
"Take a stone and break it, you snaky fuck."
And so the girl broke the door. And when the Hopi Boy came out... Hopi?
Hopi.
Oh, I keep calling it a Hopi.
Hopi.
The Hopi Boy came out. She took him to her house. Inside, he saw many people. Young, old, men and women. They were all rattlesnakes. They asked him...
Oh, fuck that.
Rattlesnake jazz.
"Where are you going?"
To which the boy replies,
"I want to find my father."
And so the girl says, "You can't go alone. I'll go with you." And she made a small tent of rattlesnake skins and carried that into the river. That sounds pretty... Where'd you get the rattlesnake skin? Is that your mom and dad?
Yeah, well, they shed their skin. There's always it was probably a very nasty house with skin, just skins all over the place.
They crawled into the tent and floated for 4 days and 4 nights. Finally, they reached the ocean, and there they saw a meteor fall into the sea, on its way to the house of the sun. So they asked the meteor to take them along. In the morning, they reached the sun's house, where they found an old woman working on turquoise, coral, and white shells. She was the moon, the mother of the sun. The boy asked her,
"Where is my father?"
To this she replied, "He's gone out, but he will return home soon." And so the sun arrived in the evening, and the old woman gave him venison and wafer bread. After he had eaten, he asked the boy, the son,
"What do you want here?" "I want to know my father." "I think you are my son. When I go to the other world, you will accompany me. Ha 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 ha."
And early the next morning, he opened the door to the grounds and told him, "Let's go, bitch."
"Let's go,
And then they left.
bitch."
The son sat himself on a stool of crystal, and then the son took a fox skin and held it up. Daylight appeared. After a while, he put the fox skin down and held up tail feathers of a macaw, and the yellow rays of sunshine began streaming out. When at last he let them down, he said to the boy,
"If bluebird droppings... now let's go! Hey! Not time to talk about bird shit yet."
The son made the boy sit behind him on the stool, and they went into another world. After traveling for some time, they saw people with long ears. The Lakota, please forgive me if I massacre this, the Aninakwe. Okay. They used their ears as blankets to cover themselves up as they slept. Something like a Dumbo. Anyway, the son remarks,
"If bluebird droppings fall on these people, they die." "But how is that possible? How can people be killed that way? Let me kill the birds." "Go ahead. I'll wait."
And so the boy jumps down and took a small cedar stick and killed the bluebirds. Then he roasted them over an open fire and ate them. The people shouted, "Look at this boy! He's eating Navajos!"
"Oh, fuck, bro. Not cool." "No, they're not Navajos. They're birds."
And then he went back to the sun, and they traveled on. About noon, they came to another town, and the sun said,
"Look down there. The Apache are coming to make war on the people."
The boy saw a whirlwind moving along. When wheat straw was blown against the legs of people, they fell dead. The boy says,
"How can people be killed by wheat straw? Let me go down there and tear it up." "Go ahead. I'll wait."
So the boy jumped down and gathered the wheat straw and tore it up. The people said, "Look at that boy! Look how he kills the Apache! What the fuck?"
"Oh, Jesus, dude.
The boy replies,
These aren't Apache. They're wheat straw."
and then he went back to the sun. They came to another town where the Hopi Boy saw people with very long hair that reached down to their ankles. They had large pots with onions tied to its handles. Inside it was a thin mush, was cooking and boiling over. And when it hit a person, it died. They died. So the son said,
"Look at the Jicarilla Apache, how they kill people." "No, that's not Jicarilla Apache, it's the mush. I go down and eat it." "Oh, Jesus. Cannibal." "Go ahead. I'll wait. I'm good at that by now."
Sorry. So then the boy jumps down, dips the mush out of the pot, and took the onions from the handles, and then ate the mush with the onions. The people said, "Look at how that boy eats the brains, hands, and feet of the Jicarilla Apache."
"Oh, the humanity."
To which the boy simply says,
"This isn't Jicarilla Apache. It's corn mush. Come, eat it with me. Feast on the flesh."
They cried, "No, we're not cannibals. We don't eat Apache warriors." Mm-mm. Then the boy went back to the sun, and they traveled on.
"I'll wait."
Finally, they came to the house of the sun in the east, where the sun's sister gave them venison stew for supper. After they had eaten, the son said to his sister,
"Wash my son's head."
and so the son's sister took a large dish, put water and yucca suds into it, and washed the boy's head and body. Then she gave him new clothes, the same kind that the son was wearing, buckskin trousers, blue moccasins, blue bands of yarn to tie under the knees, a white sash, the belt of a fox skin, turquoise and shell earrings, a white shirt, silver arm rings, beaded bracelets, and a beaded necklace.
Damn, son. He's looking good. Looking good.
She also put macaw feathers into his hair and a miha, a sacred blanket, over his shoulders and gave him a quiver of mountain lion skin.
Oh.
Then the son says to his son,
Go ahead, I'm going to follow you.
And so the boy opened the door in the ground and went. He sat down on the crystal stool, took the fox skin, and held it up to create the dawn. Then he put it down and raised the macaw feathers, holding them up in his palms until his hands stretched forward and the yellow rays of sunshine appeared. After that, he dropped his hands and went into the upper world. As he did, the people of Laguna Isleta and the other eastern pueblos looked eastward and sprinkled sacred meal. The sun behind him said,
Look at the trails, the life of the people. Some are short, others are long. Look at this one. He is near the end of his trail. He is going to die soon.
And then the boy saw an Apache coming, and in a short time the Apache had killed a man whose trail had been so short. The Hopi Boy said to the sun,
Let me go help the people. Go ahead. I'll wait.
And so the boy jumped down into the territory where the Laguna people were fighting the Apache. He told the people to wet their arrow points with saliva and hold them up to the sun, for this would help them in battle. The boy himself killed 10 Apaches and then went back to his father. Jesus Christ.
He's a burly little boy now. I like to bathe in the blood of my enemies.
They traveled on, and when they saw a group of Navajos setting out to make war on the Zuni, the boy killed them. He and his father crossed the lands of his own people, the Hopi, and then came into a Mexican territory. A Mexican was playing with his wife. When he saw the sun, he was playing.
Playing?
A little kinky play.
A little kinky?
When the son saw them, he threw the Mexican aside and cohabited the woman.
Bro.
The son said,
I don't need a wife because all the women on earth belong to me. If I see a couple fucking during the daytime, I interfere as I just did. So I am the father of all children conceived in the daytime. Like I said before, this son fucks.
Yeah. Women weren't really anything but baby making back then, so forgive these stories.
Yeah.
There's a reason this isn't a Disney story, guys. So, in the evening...
Disney presents The Son That Fucks.
Oh, okay. So, in the evening, the son entered his house in the west. By then, the boy wanted to go back to his own people, so the son's mother made a trail of sacred flower, and the boy and the rattlesnake woman went back eastward over it. At noon, they came to the rattlesnake's home. The rattlesnake woman said, I want to see my mother and father. After that, let's go on. So they entered the house, and she told her relatives that the Hopi Boy was now her husband. Then they resumed their journey.
Snake law.
That evening, they arrived in the Hopi village. Hopi. Sorry. They arrived in the Hopi village. The boy made straight for his grandmother's house, but the old chief there said,
Look at that handsome man going into that poorhouse.
So he invited the boy into his own house, but the boy replied,
No, I'm going here.
The war chief said,
We don't want you in that dirty house. No. That house is mine. So tell your people to clean it up. Your people have treated us badly. I will tell my father, the sun, if you don't. I've literally killed like 1,000 people, so don't fuck with me.
On the following evening, the boy appeared before the village council and told them all what had happened to him. He told them,
You must teach your people how to act rightly. The sun says you should forbid all bad actions.
And the people accepted his words, and everyone worked hard at cleaning his house. In return, the boy gave peaches, melons, and wafer bread to the poor. Every evening after sunset, the woman would come with their dishes, and he would offer them venison stew and peaches. He said to the chief,
I will teach the people the right way to live, even if you are my enemy. I'm a man now. I will show you how to behave well.
Twin children, a boy and a girl, were born to his wife, and they had shapes of rattlesnakes, but they were also human. The end.
Yeah, and that's how jazz was created also.
Snake jazz.
Snake jazz. And human jazz by the cohabitation of snake and human. Yeah. So that story was based on a legend reported by Franz Boas in 1922.
Yeah, these are old stories. These are like 100 years old.
Yeah, they've all got that old word of mouth style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You want to talk about the next one?
Yeah.
What it's called?
What is it called? Oh, I have it right in front of me. The story number 2 is called Son of Light Kills the Monster.
Again, these are all Hopi tribes.
Hopi, yeah, all from the Hopi. Hopi.
Canadian-y.
Canadian. I get the Hopi, and I go get myself a pie, and then I get a big.
All right. So Man Eagle, a frightful monster, had laid waste to the whole country. With his sharp talons, he seized women, girls, wives, and maidens. He flew off with them to his home above the clouds, where he abused them for 4 nights before eating them.
Fucker, that's not cool.
Mm-hmm. Among those abducted by Man Eagle was the young wife of the Son of Light. He was not fucking happy. Within hours, this hero was on their trail, and along the way, he met the Pinon maidens.
Pinot
Noir.
Pinion
maidens. They dressed in grass and pinon bark, and with them was Spider Woman and Mole.
Spider Woman, and Mole.
The spirits asked the Son of Light, "Where are you going?" He replies,
Man Eagle has stolen my wife. I'm going to rescue her, but I have to get there in a hurry before he kills her.
Spider Woman says,
Well, oh shit, son, that's bad. But have no fear, we'll totally help you. I'm like pretty much one of the Avengers, I think.
So she turns and looks to the Pinon maidens and says,
You bitches better go gather some pinion resin and shape it into a copy of Man Eagle's flint arrowhead shirt that no weapon can penetrate. And be quick about it, too. I don't have a lot of time. I'm tired of waiting.
So the Pinon maidens gathered the resin and made a shirt exactly like Man Eagle's. And when they had finished it, Spider Woman sprinkled some sacred corn pollen all over it and chanted an invocation. Then she turned herself into a tiny spider no bigger than the grain of a salt and crawled on the Son of Light's right ear.
Now I'm just a little spider,
she says to him in his ear.
Here I am, where I can tell you what to do. If you get into trouble, the next step is up to Mole. Mole's a really good guy. You can trust him. I've been with him for years.
He never says anything, though.
He never says anything, though. He always keeps his mouth shut.
Like a good man.
Like a good mole.
So the mole burrowed a passage through the mountain and up the top so that the Son of Light could get to the summit without being seen. When they came out onto the mountaintop, they saw that they were still far below Man Eagle's home, high up in the clouds. Mm-hmm. So Spider Woman says,
I can call up some birds to help us if you want. I'm friends with a few birds. I know the penguins from the Madagascar movie, and I'm also pretty close with the big bird.
The first to answer her call was the spotted eagle.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to even mention my good old friend from the Lord of the Rings movies.
Son of Light, Mole, and Spider Woman climbed onto his back, and he spread his wings and began circling upwards. Higher and higher he flew until at last he was exhausted and said, I can go no further.
Done.
So Spider-Woman then calls on the hawk, who comes at once, flying wingtip to wingtip with the spotted eagle. Mole, Son of Light, and Spider-Woman, still perched in his right ear, walked over onto the wings of the hawk's back.
Oh, that's some smooth shit right there.
The hawk carried them higher and higher, but after a while his strength gave out too. He said, "This is as high as I can go."
I'm too fucking high. I'm way too fucking high, man. What did you feed me, man? I'm fucking way too high.
So Spider-Woman called for the Greyhawk to take over. And again, Son of Light, Mole, and Spider-Woman changed birds. And the Greyhawk flew up higher than the others. Still, it was not high enough. And the three friends transferred to the back of a Red Hawk. Best of all the flyers.
Best of all the flyers.
The Red Hawk flew through a hole in the clouds right to the White House, which was the home of Man-Eagle.
Okay, I think I know who Man-Eagle is now. Yeah.
Go ahead.
The President of the goddamn United States.
Wow, no.
I mean, think about it. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. Fuck Man-Eagle. No, I'm joking.
They thanked the Red Hawk for carrying them so far, and Son of Light, Spider-Woman, and Mole got down and walked boldly up to the house. The Spider-Woman says,
"Look at the ladder to the entrance. Its rungs all sharp knives. That's gonna hurt your hands.
Cut your fingers off.
Cut your fucking fingers off and things. What shall we do? Go pick some sumac berries. I could really use some sumac right now. I'm really craving it."
So the Son of Light gathered the berries and returned to her. She told him,
"Now feed them all to the horned toad over there, the little horny toad. I love it when you feed him little berries."
So the Son of Light popped the berries into the wide mouth of the horned toad, who chewed them up into a gooey paste, which he spat back into the palm of the Son of Light's hands. Ew.
Mole just nods.
The Spider-Woman tells him,
"Now smear what the horned toad has given you on the sharp edges of the rungs. It'll totally work. It'll keep it from cutting your little fingers."
As the Son of Light smeared the edges, they immediately became blunt so that he could climb up without having his fingers cut off.
See,
Spider-Woman was still behind his right ear, by the way, while Little Mole had buried himself into the Son of Light's hair.
Okay.
With this,
I'm glad you said hair.
With his two hidden companions.
Little Mole had went straight up his butt.
Where the sun don't shine.
Where the Son of Light don't shine.
With his two hidden companions, the Son of Light stepped into Man-Eagle's home. The first thing he saw was Man-Eagle's magic flint arrowhead shirt hanging from the Viga.
Vega?
V-I-G-A?
Vega.
Quick as a flash, the Son of Light hung the counterfeit shirt on the rafter and put the real shirt on. They were so alike that not even the Son of Light could tell them apart. He went to the second room where he found his wife, and her hands were tied behind her back. He told her,
"I've come to free you."
"Flee, run quickly. No one who enters here has ever leaves alive."
"Don't be afraid. We'll come out of here alive and happy."
Man-Eagle was asleep in the next room, but Spider-Woman was carrying a hear-nothing charm, which prevented their noise from reaching his ears. Unaware that strangers were in his house, he awoke and put on his flint arrow shirt, and then went into the next room. He thought,
"Now I will enjoy the beautiful girl."
But instead he found himself face to face with the Son of Light. Taken aback, he says,
"Who are you and how dare you come here? Where's the Secret Service? You have stolen my wife, and I am taking her back. Maybe you will, and maybe you won't. You talk big. But first, you will have a contest to win." Oh, I got the voice wrong. "Maybe you will, and maybe you won't. You talk big, but first you'll have a contest to win with me." "What kind of contest?" "A smoking contest. Let's get baked, bro."
And so The monster brought out a huge pipe as long as a good-sized man and filled it with tobacco.
Tobacco.
He'll fucking load it with weed, so whatever.
He filled it with the wacky tobacco.
He tells the Son of Light,
We will both smoke this. Whoever weakens and faints is the loser. If you lose, I have the right to kill you and possess your wife, as is written in the bills and laws. If you win, you can take her back.
Now, Man Eagle's magic tobacco was poisonous enough to stun anyone who was not used to it.
Yeah, you got that chronic.
Though it no longer had an effect on him.
See?
I've been smoking it for so long.
I've been smoking it for so long, man.
But while Man Eagle explained the rules of the contest, Mole quickly burrowed a hole into the floor underneath the spot of which the Son of Light was sitting.
Smart move, Mole.
The mole made a passage all the way down through the earth to the outside, and as the man and the monster puffed away, the smoke passed right through the light of the Son of Light and through the hole into the outside air. So basically, he was shitting fart.
He was farting out the smoke as he was sucking it. I have this uncanny ability where I
just go straight through his
body. What is that? It's nothing.
The two smoked and smoked until Man Eagle got dizzy from his own magic tobacco and had to stop. The Son of Light, on the other hand, was unaffected. No wonder.
The fucking just Man Eagle just over there, just all baked. Man, you know what we should do? You know what we should do? You know what we should do? We should totally go. Fuck, I forgot what we should do.
Too much of that cheaper, bro.
It's too much of that special tobacco, man. I just gotta say though, I love you though. We're like brothers now.
The house was filled to the bursting point with smoke, so Man Eagle stepped outside the house to clear his head. The Son of Light followed, and they both saw dense clouds of smoke covering the whole sky. Man Eagle thinks,
I wonder how he did that.
But then aloud says to the Son of Light,
I wonder what donuts are made of. Well, you win this contest. But that was only the first. Now comes the second.
So Man Eagle brought forth 2 huge elk antlers. He tells the Son of Light,
You take this one, and I'll take the other. We each will try to break his own in 2. If you fail to break yours with your hands, I shall kill you and possess your wife.
The antler that the Man Eagle had given his rival was actually a magical piece of stone, the hardest stone in the world. The antler that Man Eagle had kept for himself was a false antler made of brittle wood. Quick as a flash, just before the contest began, Spider-Woman exchanged the 2 elk antlers. She was really the Flash in disguise.
Zoom, zoom.
She did it with such lightning speed that not even the eye of the Man Eagle could follow her. And so the rivals took up their antlers, and the Son of Light broke his so easily. But Man Eagle could not break his, however hard he tried. Then he thought to himself,
he's too high. God damn, man, this is way too hard. Why do we do things that are hard? No. Well, I wonder how he did that.
He was not so sure of himself anymore. So he tells the Son of Light,
Well, this was just child's play. Something to warm us up. Now for the third contest. What is it this time? Step outside with me.
And so they went out. The monster pointed at 2 huge pine trees near the house. He told the Son of Light,
You choose one of these trees, and I will take the other. He who fails to pull the tree up by its roots loses the contest. So be it, says the Son of Light.
Yes.
So be it.
Fucking where am I? So Man Eagle chooses the tree in which he thought had the shallower roots. And then he tells the Son of Light again.
Remember, if you fail to pull up the tree trunk, branches, roots, and all, you lose. No matter what I do, then I will kill you and possess your wife.
During these preparations, Mole had burrowed underneath Son of Light's tree and gnawed through all the roots. The Son of Light pulled it up with ease, while the man-eagle could not uproot his. Man-eagle thinks to himself,
I wonder how the fuck he did that. This young man is really strong and super resilient to that chronic that I got.
And then tells the Son of Light,
It pleases me to let you win once more, but you must win a fourth and last contest. What do you propose? Watch me, motherfucker.
And Man-Eagle began carrying into the biggest room heaps of food, meats of all kinds, peaky bread, cornbread, all kinds, mush, gruel, all kinds, squash, bean dishes, all kinds.
He had turnips, chickens.
He had
goats.
baskets of it, pots of it, cups of it, and dippers full of food, making 2 huge mountains of it all in his biggest fucking room.
I got the
Weird as
dippers.
shit. Then he tells the Son of Light,
This heap is yours, and this one is mine. You must eat your heap all at once, without leaving a single scrap. If you can't do it, I'll kill you, and I'll possess your wife. And that is a promise.
Now the Man-Eagle thinks to himself,
I'm sure to win this one. The young man is puny compared to me. He can't absorb all this food. Food?
Again, Mole had dug a tunnel underneath the Son of Light, and as quickly as...
Mole's the unsung hero of this story.
As quickly as the Son of Light emptied a dish, the food passed through him and through the tunnel to... So he's pretty much eating and shitting.
Eating and shitting at the same time. I can do this.
So the food passed through him and through the tunnel to some place outside the house.
It's a good thing it went outside the house.
In no time, the Son of Light had eaten the whole mountain of meat, corn, squash, beans, peaky, and mush. While Man-Eagle tried to match him dish for dish, but could not. So the Son of Light says,
Well, I'll take my wife and I'll go home now, please.
To which the eagle says, Man-Eagle says,
Not so fast. In the end, it comes down to this. He keeps dialing back on how many challenges he has. He's real wishy-washy. Yeah. Which of us is invulnerable? Which of us can stand in the flames with a mighty fire? I can. Can you? We shall see.
So Man-Eagle made 2 huge piles of dry wood, and he tells the Son of Light,
You sit on this one, and I'll sit on this one. Your wife can set fire to them, and once we're in position, if you can withstand the fire, then I'll do whatever you say.
Now Man-Eagle thought,
Now I can get rid of this asshole. My magic flint arrowhead shirt is fireproof. The young man will surely burn to ashes.
So the Son of Light's wife set fire to the 2 wood piles. Of course, Son of Light was wearing the real magic flint arrowhead shirt, coated with ice, clear and cold like crystal. It protected him from the flames. In the process, part of the ice melted and extinguished the fire. But the shirt of Man-Eagle was made out of resin and ignited in a flash that was so thoroughly it consumed the Man-Eagle that only his ashes remained.
Jeez.
Then Spider-Woman whispered into the Son of Light's ear.
Go ahead and take this medicine of mine and put it in your mouth, and then I want you to spurt it all over Man-Eagle's ashes. Just gradually just spurt it out there.
So the Son of Light did what the Spider-Woman said, and he spat the medicine over the ashes of Man-Eagle. And Man-Eagle arose, transformed into a good-looking man. A real Ben Barnes. Woo.
Woo.
Love that man.
Woo.
I love you too, babe.
Okay.
Spider-Woman addressed Spider-Woman addressed this eagle turned into man.
Have you learned your lesson now? Will you stop killing and eating people? Will you stop stealing and ambushing wives and maidens?
Not ambushing. Abusing.
Abusing? But you're ambushing them too, so you're pretty much ambushing people with abuse. I mean, pretty much just, I would like it if you would kind of just stop being an all-around asshole. Because you've been a real asshole lately, Eagle Man. And I would like that not to be a thing.
Eagle turned into man said, I promise. I'll never do evil again.
Sorry.
Never. And so the Son of Light joyfully claims his wife, while the Spider Woman brought all the Hopi people, who Man Eagle had killed, back to life again. Then they all got on the backs of Eagle, Hawk, Greyhawk, and Red Hawk, and these friendly birds carried them back safely to their homes. The end.
The end. They even saved Man Eagle out of that. I didn't expect that to happen.
I know,
That's
right?
pretty
So
awesome.
nice.
Yeah, they're so nice. You just had to spurt it all over his ashes. Yeah. So yeah, this story was retold by various 19th century authors or peoples, and there is no known original author. So it's, one of those cool ones that just all passed down from word of mouth and whatnots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up.
Story
number 3.
Story number 3. The Revenge of the Blue Corn Ear Maiden.
A long time ago, 2 maidens lived in Orabi. They were close friends and often ground corn at one another's house. Their friendship ended abruptly, however, when they both fell in love with the same young man.
Bum, bum, bum.
One of them, the yellow corn ear maiden, had supernatural powers, and she made up her mind to destroy her rival, the blue corn ear maiden. Early one morning, the 2 girls carried their jugs to get water from the spider spring, northeast of the village. On their way back, they came to a sandhill, and the yellow ear corn maiden said, "So, let's sit down and rest here for, a while." And after some time, she said, "Let's play some catch. You run down the hill, and, I'll throw you something, and then you throw it back, right?" So she drew from her bosom a pretty little wheel that gleamed with all colors of the rainbow. When her friend reached the foot of the hill, Yellow Corn Ear Maiden threw the wheel at her, but it was so heavy that Blue Corn Ear Maiden collapsed on the ground when she caught it.
It's just rude.
When she stood up again, she was a coyote. The Yellow Corn Ear Maiden laughed and said, "Ha ha, bitch! That's what you fucking get for quarreling with me." And so she shooed the coyote away and took her own jug and went back to the village.
That's just mean.
She's a dick.
That's just mean.
Sadly, the coyote climbed the hill and tried to pick up her jug, but without her hands, she couldn't. She sat down and cried until evening, and after dark she tried to enter the village, but the dogs there drove her away. She made a large circuit around the village to try to go in from another side, but again she was driven away by the dogs.
Shoo.
By this time, she was getting very hungry, so she went off to the west hoping to find something to eat.
There's always food in the West.
Oh, I guess. It was the fall of the year, and the people were busy in the fields working on their crops. Carefully, she crept up to one of the homemade shelters in which the farmers lived, found 2 roasted ears of corn that had been left on top, and then ate them right up.
Nom, nom, nom.
She tried a third time to enter the village, but when the dogs smelled her, they drove her away.
Ruff, ruff.
She knew she wouldn't be able to get home as long as she looked and smelled like a coyote.
Yeah, I've had that problem too.
Did you?
Yeah, it's like, no one's gonna let me come home looking and smelling like a coyote.
Well, you smell like fucking grease.
You smell like coyote grease. Yeah.
She wandered through the entire night until she arrived at a place which belonged to 2 Quoquolam Kachinas.
Kachina.
Who were hunting in that region. In their hut, she found plenty of baked rabbit meat and entrails, and lots of rabbit skins. Starving, but also exhausted, she ate a little meat and a little bit of entrails, which she didn't like very much.
Oh, so she's a picky coyote, too. No one likes a picky coyote.
Since the 2 hunters had already eaten and left for the hunt, she decided to stay in their hut and rest all day. In the evening, the 2 Quaqualme hunters returned. With their keen eyes and ears, they knew even as they approached that something was wrong. One of them peeked in and whispered,
"There is a coyote in our hut, and he's eaten some of our meat."
He got his bow and his arrows, and then was about to take aim on the intruder when the other one said,
"No, let's try to capture him alive, eh? And take him home to our grandmother, the Spider Woman."
Wow. So they went in, But much to their surprise, they heard the coyote sob and saw tears trickling from its eyes.
Oh.
Even they were touched by the sight, and one of them took a large
Does
piece
that
of
make
meat.
it a cryote? I'm sorry.
Even they were touched by the sight, and one of them took a large piece of meat from his pouch, broke it in two, and gave a portion to their visitor, who ate it with relish. Then they decided to go back home that evening.
Like it's a hot dog.
They tied up the meat and the skins and also tied the feet of the coyote, loading everything upon their backs. They returned to Kachina Gap, a short distance northwest of Orabi. And as soon as they arrived, they called out to Spider-Woman.
Grandmother, we have brought you back an animal. Come and help us lift it off our backs.
She was delighted with her present. Woo! And placed the coyote with the rabbit meat near the fireplace. Then the woman looked closely at the wretched animal and exclaimed,
Alas, this poor one. She is no coyote. Thankfully you have not killed it. Where exactly did you find it?
They told her of how they found and captured her in their hunting hut. So she sent one of the men into the village after some tumala. It's a potent plant, by the way. She sent the other one into the woods to fetch a few juniper branches.
And a pack of Virginia Slims. Bring me back a bottle of cheap vodka also and a pack of cigarettes.
That's what
I'm
tumala
running
is.
low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While they were gone, she boiled some water, and when the man with the tumala returned, she poured the water into a vessel and hooked one tumala pod onto the coyote's neck and the other one onto her back. She then plunged the animal into the water and covered her with a piece of native cloth. Placing her hand upon the cover, Spider-Woman took hold of the two hooks and kept twisting and turning them until she had pulled off the skin of the coyote. When she threw aside the cloth, there was the blue corn ear maiden, still in her original clothes, her hair tied in whirls just as it had been before she left the village. And the woman asked how she met this fate. The maiden told her the whole story.
That yellow corn, bitch.
Spider-Woman comforted her and said,
That yellow corn here, maiden, she's bad. She's totally bad news. But you will have your revenge. Trust me, revenge will be yours.
At this point, the other hunter returned with the juniper branches. And she took the maiden, together with the branches and the water, into another room, and there bathed her, and then gave her some corn, which the maiden ground into meal. The maiden stayed there for several days until Spider-Woman told her that her mother was very sick with worry and that she should go home. But first, Spider-Woman called together a number of Kachinas who lived together nearby and told them all what had happened. She told them that Spider-Woman told them that she wanted them to help the blue-eared corn maiden home, and they were all willing.
Yeah. Now that she's not a coyote, we'll totally help her get
I'll
home.
explain what the Kachinas are in a minute after the story, by the way.
Uh-huh.
Because it's not just a place.
It's a state of mind.
No. No.
It's people?
Well, I guess I could explain it now.
No. Save it for the end. Save it for the
Okay.
end. Keep going.
She dressed the maiden in wonderful finery and put her hair into fresh whirls, and then placed her over the shoulders a new atu. Just like a shawl.
Shawl.
She instructed her to have her father make bahos, prayer sticks, and a number of naquaquosis as prayer offerings to the leader of the Kachinas and the leader of the singing. So the Kachinas are going to perform this dance-singing ritual.
Singing, dancing ritual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lastly, she gave her a plan to deal with the yellow corn ear maiden. So they set off, the maiden walking in the rear of the line of the Kachinas. At early dawn, the so-called white dawn, they arrived near the house of the village chief, where the Pangoe Kiva is at present situated. Anyway, there they performed their first dance, singing while they danced.
Yeah.
Those already stirring in the village rushed out to see the Kachinas dancing. And soon, news was whispered all around the whole village that the Kachinas had brought a maiden with them. And some soon recognized the blue corn ear maiden and then ran to her house of her parents. The latter refused to believe the news, and 4 messengers had to be sent to convince them. When they finally went to the Kachinas, the procession had arrived in the dancing plaza in the center of the village.
Yeah, party time.
Her mother says, "So you've come," and began to cry. She wanted to take her daughter with her, but the girl said,
"Wait a little,"
and gave her father, Spider-Woman's instructions. The Kachinas continued their dancing with the mana, which the mana we'll explain later. The female Kachinas waiting by their side. So the Kachinas continued their dancing with the mana, the female Kachinas waiting by their side. When finally the father brought the prayer offerings, he gave 1 boho to the leader and the other to his daughter. And after the dancing was over, the daughter gave the prayer stick to the leader of the singing. The Nakwa Kosis was distributed amongst the other Kachinas. And after the happy father had thanked them for bringing his child, they returned to their own home. Blue Corn Ear Maiden rested at her parents' house for a day and a night, but early the next morning she went to grind corn as she usually did. She sang a little song about her adventures. When Yellow Corn Ear Maiden heard her voice, she came rushing out to proclaim how delighted she was that her friend had returned.
"So happy you made it back." "You mean from when you tried to kill me?"
Blue Corn Ear Maiden treated her cordially, just as Spider-Woman had told her to do so. They ground corn together all day, just as they had done before. And even in the evening, they went after water again, to the same spring where they had gotten water before. While they were filling jugs, the Yellow Corn Ear Maiden noticed that her friend was dipping her water with a particular little vessel, which the Spider-Woman had given her. And that the water, which ran into the jug, was very beautiful, glistening with the colors in the rainbow. The Yellow Corn Ear Maiden thought it was a pretty cup and wanted to examine it. So the Blue Corn Ear Maiden said,
"Yep, this is a very fine cup, and the water tastes so good from it too."
Thereupon, she drank from it and handed it to her friend, who also drank. Immediately, she fell down and was turned into a bull snake. The Blue Corn Ear Maiden said,
"There you are, a man on the ground forever. You tried once to destroy me, but it didn't work. No one will help to restore you."
And so she laughed. So the Blue Corn Ear Maiden laughed and then picked up her jug and returned to her village. So the bull snake slithered away to begin its lifelong wandering. It was often hungry, but as it couldn't move very fast, it had to capture its prey by luring little rabbits and birds into its powerful and intoxicating breath. The Yellow Corn Ear Maiden tried finally to return to her village, where she was killed by her own parents. They, of course, didn't know that the snake that they had killed was their own daughter, but her soul was liberated to go into the skeleton house. Ever since then,
the bone house.
Ever since then, some dead sorcerers will take the form of bull snakes and leave their graves, still wound in the yucca leaves in which the corpse was tied up when lain away. If such a bull snake is killed, the soul of the sorcerer living in it is set free and can go to the skeleton house, just as the Yellow Corn Ear Maiden did at last.
Oh.
So as I was trying to tell you, the Kachinas, the mana, the female Kachinas, they were actually men dressed up as women.
Huh. Interesting.
See, that shit goes back way back.
Way back in the day. Stealing all the roles from females.
Mm-hmm. And that's the story.
Yeah. That was based on a version collected by Henry Voth in 1905.
Over 100 years old, folks.
But the story itself, I'm sure, was way older than that. Like most of these, that's just the first time some white dude wrote it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drink.
Our fourth story, final story here that we have for you guys is called A Journey to the Skeleton House. So we're going to get back into that bone shack, the bone house.
Everybody be boning.
Everybody be boning in the bone house.
Halixia!
Alexia.
Oh, that's how the story starts.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Excelsior!
That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
In Shangopavi, where the people were first living, a curious young man would often sit at the edge of the village, looking at the graveyards. He wondered what became of the dead, if they really continued to live somewhere else. So he asked his father, who could tell him very little. Not a knowledgeable guy.
Yeah. I don't know.
His father was the village chief, and he said that he would speak to the other chiefs and to his assistants about it. So he asked the village criers whether they knew anything that would help his son. They told him, Yeah, Badger Old Man has medicine that will answer his questions. So they called on Badger Old Man, and when they arrived, they said, This young man is thinking about the dead, whether they live anywhere. You know anything about it, bro? He has some medicine that can show him. To which old Badger said,
Very well. I'll go and get my medicine.
So he went to his house, looked over his medicines, and finally found the right one. He took it back to the village chief and said,
This is the medicine. Tomorrow, put a white kilt on your son, and then blacken his skin with tow.
Blackface.
Blackface. You shouldn't do that. But, yeah. And tie a small eagle feather to his forehead. These are the very preparations used for the dead.
The next morning, they dressed the young man in this way, and Badger Old Man spread a white owa on the floor and told the young man to lie on it. He gave the young man some medicine to eat and also placed medicine in his ears and on his heart. Then he wrapped him up in the robe, whereupon the young man, after moving a little, died. But not really.
But
It was like
he just pretended to die.
like Romeo and Juliet minus fucking the stabbing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he just that fake death potion.
Badger Old Man says,
This is very fine medicine. If he hears this, he will go far away, but he will also come back again. He wanted to see something and find out, and with this medicine, he'll do just that.
And after the young man had fallen asleep, he saw a path leading westward, and it was the road to the skeleton house. The path he followed, and after a while he met a woman sitting by the roadside.
What have you come for?
To which the young man replies,
I have come to find out about your life here.
She says,
Yes, I didn't follow the straight road. I didn't listen, and now I have to wait here. After a certain number of days, I can go on a little each time, but it will be a very long time before I get to the bone house.
So she pointed to an enclosure of sticks, which was all the house and protection she had. From here, the path led westward through a large cactus and agave plants, so full that they sometimes hid the way. He finally arrived at the rim of a steep bluff, where a chief was sitting. He was Kiwanita, and had a white line around his right eye and a big horn for his headdress. He also asked the young man why he had come, and the latter told him.
And
then the chief said, I guess.
I got nothing. Very, very well. Away over there is the house that you are looking for.
But a great deal of smoke in the distance hid the house from the young man's view. The chief spread the young man's kilt out on the ground, placed the young man on it, and then lifted it up, holding it over the precipice. Thank you. The chief threw it forward, whereupon the kilt carried the young man slowly down like a giant bird. When he arrived on the ground below the bluff, he put on his kilt again and proceeded. Hey. I lost my place.
Proceeded.
In the distance, he saw a column of smoke rising, and asked her what the I'm sorry. In the distance, he came upon a skeleton woman and asked her what the smoke was. She said,
"Some of those who were wicked while they lived were thrown in there. The bad chiefs and the people over this road, and then they are destroyed. They no longer exist. You must not go there. Keep on this road and go straight ahead. Go straight. Ahead is your skeleton house."
When at last he arrived at the skeleton house, he did not see anyone except for a few children playing. And by the time he went into the village, all of the people, or rather skeletons, really, living there, had heard about him and gathered to stare. They asked the young man, "Who are you?" To which he says,
"I am the village chief's son. I come from Shango Pavi."
So they pointed towards the bear clans, saying, "Those are your people over there." Oh, those are the people. Sorry. "Those are your people. That's what you want to see. Those are your ancestors." And so the skeleton took him over to the house where his clan lived and showed him the ladder that led up to the house. The rungs of the ladder were made of sunflower stems, and the first rung broke as soon as he stepped on it. Though the skeletons went up and down the ladder with no trouble. The young man says,
I shall have to stay down here. Bring me food and feed me down here."
So the skeletons brought him some melon, watermelon, and chukuviki. Don't know what the fuck chukuviki is.
Me neither, but I like the watermelon.
I like the way it sounds.
It sounds cool. It sounds delicious.
When they saw him eat, they laughed at him. They are lighter than air because they never eat the food, only its odor or soul. And that is the reason why the clouds into which the dead are transformed are not heavy and they can float on the air. The food itself, the skeletons threw out behind their houses, which is where they got his meal.
From the trash.
When he had finished, they asked him what he had come for. He said,
"I was wondering whether skeletons live somewhere. I told my father I wanted to go and find out, so he dressed me this way, and Badger Old Man gave me some medicine to make it happen. Pretty sure it was DMT."
So they asked him, or they didn't really ask him, they told him,
"So that's what you've come for. Well, look at us. It's not light here, and we actually live poorly here. You cannot stay with us here yet. Your flesh is too strong and salty, so salty. You still eat food. We eat only the odor of food. I just sniff it right up. When you go back, you must work for us there. Naquaquosis.
Make naquaquosis.
Make naquaquosis for all the soil ceremony.
Yes.
We tie these around your foreheads and they represent dropping rain. We shall work for you here, too. We shall send you rain for the crops. You must wrap up the Owa women when they die, and tie a big knotted belt around them, because these Owas are not tightly woven. When the skeletons move along on them through the sky as clouds, the thin rain drops through these Owas, and the big raindrops fall from the fringes of the big belt. Sometimes you cannot see the clouds distinctly because they are hidden behind the naquaquosis.
Perfect.
Just as our faces are hidden behind them."
Looking around, very nicely done. Looking around, the young man saw some of the skeletons walking around on with huge burdens on their back. They were mealing stones, which they carried by a thin string over their forehead. They had cut deeply into their skin. Others carried bundles of cactuses on their backs, and as they had no clothes on, the thorns and the cactus hurt them.
Ouch.
He was told that some had to submit to such punishments for a certain length of time. Then they were relieved of them and could live with the others. At another place in the skeleton house, he saw the chiefs who had been good here, in this world and in the next. They had made a good road for the people, and they had taken their tiponies which is an ear of corn adorned with feathers of different birds and pieces of turquoise and shells.
Huh. Fancy.
Their protective medicine also. And set them up there.
Some more DMT.
Yeah. And when the people here in the village have their ceremonies and smoke during their ceremonies, this smoke goes down into the other world to the Tiponis, or mothers, and from there rises up in the form of clouds.
Yay!
That's how clouds came to be.
Yeah, it's all that puffing.
After the young man had seen everything and was satisfied with his curiosity, he set off to his own village. When he arrived at the steep bluff, he again mounted his kilt, and a slight breeze lifted him up. He met the Quanita chief, who told him,
"Your father and mother are mourning for you now, so you'd better return home."
This was the last person that he would meet along his way.
Mm.
When he had just about arrived at his house, his body, which was still lying under covers in the room where he had fallen asleep, began to move, and they joined once more. It came to life again. They removed the covering, and Badger Old Man wiped his body, washed the paint off his face, and discharmed him. Then he sat up. They fed him and asked him what he had found out. He recounted all of his experience in detail. The woman with the house of brush, the Quanita chief, and his flight on the kilt, and all about the skeleton house. The skeletons with heavy burdens of cactus and stones, and even the skeleton's food. He says to them,
"I have seen it all myself now, and I shall remember it, for we are living in the light here, and they are living in the dark there. No one should desire to go there."
Then he told them about the Naquacosis and the Bahus, and says,
"If we make prayer offerings for them, they will provide rain for our crops and food for us. Thus we should assist each other."
They all told him, "Very well, very well."
Yeah, sure, why not?
So that is the way.
That's the way.
And so they returned to their homes wiser than before. And from that time, the living and the dead began working together for the benefit of both. The end.
The end. Nice. That was based on a tale, original Hopi tale, collected by Henry Voth in 1905.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that.
Hope you enjoyed it. Some good Hopi short stories for you.
Mm-hmm.
We got the book, American
Pretty
Indians, Myths and Legends, selected and edited by Richard Ed Rotes and Alfonso Ortiz.
Actually, I was reading through some of these stories. Some of them are pretty fucking rapey.
That's some,
Yeah.
It's hard not to find rapey stories. I mean,
Well, I mean, we can get into it if you want.
No, that's okay. Let's keep it non-rapey.
The coyote and his 25-foot fucking penis.
Oh, Jesus. We might have to do that story just because.
It's weird. It's very weird.
But it's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Hope you folks enjoyed it. Had fun. Let us know what you think.
Mm-hmm.
As always, we like you guys. Look forward to some cool stuff coming out in the future.
Like us.
Yeah.
Share and subscribe.
Share, subscribe, like. Cool stuff coming in the future. We're gonna do Folk Tales of the American West episode with a special guest on it.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. It's gonna be awesome. And otherwise, as always, let us know if you have any ideas that you want us to tackle.
Yeah.
And we will tackle them.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Sweet. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.